Hello, family members. I hope you're having a nice day today. I have been wanting to talk about this for a while, and actually, I'm a little behind the trend, as it were. But um, I want to talk about the difference between good weird and bad weird, because that's something that, you know, I think is a really important distinction that not everyone can see, but it says a lot about you if you can or can't. So, of course, if you're um, at all familiar with what's going on in politics, we got this Walls guy who seems like a pretty good dude. I mean, I'm always for teachers and more teachers in government because the government makes really bad decisions about schools. So yeah, teachers in school or teachers in government, good. I'm for that. And but that's completely beside the point. I'm sorry. It's just one of those days. Uh, he made this sort of meme thing where he called JD Vance and Donald Trump and maybe even kind of those kind of guys in general weird, and this whole thing, and it, it's such a perfect thing to say because if you're like me, if you're the kind of person that knows that you're a little bit eccentric and is fine with that, fond of how you are and who you are and yourself, and it would never even occur to you to take weird as an insult, you know? To me, it's like, it's not even an insult or a compliment. It's just a description. Like, I'm not, you know, average in a lot of ways, we'll just say. I've always been the kind of person that was a little bit on the outside socially. I'm not very good in crowds at all. uh, and had a really hard time in school with my peers. I just didn't know how to relate to them, and being the weird kid, that's just like literally just who I was, you know. And it's the same thing as like when people try to like fat shame me. It just cracks me up. I'm like, they're like, "You're fat," and I'm like, "Yeah," and like I that is an accurate statement. I don't know why you're saying it out of context, but okay, sure, fine. Yeah, am I supposed to be? Do you think I'm not aware of that? It just cracks me up. So, like, yeah, if someone calls me weird, I'm like, well, duh. Yeah, I know that. Like, obviously. And someone calls Donald Trump weird, and he's like, they didn't say I was weird. It was actually my running mate that was weird. The guy I picked. Because that definitely is better. But that's, I think, a very fundamental difference between conservatives and progressives is progressives understand that there's a good weird and a bad weird. And conservatives just think weird is bad, period. And this pressure, internal pressure, and I'm sure external pressure as well, that they feel to be normal. Gosh, that's got to be so exhausting, right? Like, I would not want to have to deal with that, to be fair. But, like, it kind of like they think normal is an aspirational thing. Like, that's what you want to be, you need to be, you work to be. You fit in with your peers, you live the life the way you're supposed to, all of that, right? And they want everyone else to live the same way that they do because they feel like they are compelled to follow those rules. So why isn't everyone else? And when you don't look at the world that way, when you look at the world seeing differences in people as being awesome, cool to learn about, and you're genuinely curious about all the different ways that people can look at things and live their lives. That's just I think like a very foreign concept for conservatives. I don't think that they feel any sort of like compulsion to do that or excitement from it, you know? And that's really hard for me to like wrap my head around because I just find people fascinating. Like it's weird how when you're like confront me with a person I don't know, I'm like, I don't know what to do. How do I handle this? But I'm always like, people are fascinating. I love learning stories about people, like anyway, that's another completely unnecessary tangent. I apologize. But the main thing is, it's just a difference in priorities. It's a difference in values, I think. And I think the reason why it hits so hard is because conservatives want to assert that what they want, that the way of life that they advocate for is the right and natural and normal way, and to imply otherwise and have people agree. People say, have that kind of hit with the electorate, kind of take some of the shine off of the party. Their platform as it is basically Donald Trump. But that's not really true, because Donald Trump also has to follow the wants and needs of his electorate to a certain extent. It's sort of a decentralized cult where they all kind of control each other. What Donald Trump is sort of a de facto leader in a way, but if he strays too far from where they think normal is, then he's going to be put right back in line, let me say. I mean, it's like after Roe v. Wade got overturned because of his three Supreme Court picks, and he's trying to like kind of run away from it a little bit and trying to soften his stance because he can see that it's not very popular that Roe v. Wade got overturned. And so he knows that he's going to be more popular if he can kind of be a little more ambivalent or a little more like conciliatory on that point than his followers would really want. And he gets confronted by a woman in a town hall who is like, I am so anti-abortion, it just kills me, and I just want to know that you really sincerely, And so he realized he had to double down. The base told him, no, you're not gonna shy away from this position. This is one of the positions that we expect from you, and you better dang well get on the right page with us for that. And he sure as heck did. He is pulled around by the nose by his electorate in a lot of the same ways that they are pulled around by him, and it's weird. they don't they don't realize what they're doing to themselves and to each other. They don't realize how confined in their bubble they are. They don't understand how far out of right field they are, and they don't understand that it is weird. It is weird to sit around and worry about the genitals of school children, and that's none of your business. That's the business of a person, their kid, and the kid's doctors. And it's not normal to be so obsessed with how other people live their life. And it's not normal to, expect every person to live the same kind of life. It's not normal to be openly disrespectful to the disabled, to people who don't have children for whatever reason. Because, fuck you. You don't know why people don't have kids. Uh, and you don't know how difficult that topic can be for certain people. So, just no. They don't understand how freaking weird it is that he, talks about Hannibal Lecter like he's a personal friend. I cannot imagine any other politician doing that. Period. Even as a joke. He did it multiple times. He doubled down on the Hannibal Lecter. Because he can never back down, because his strongman image is what he has. They believe that he is rich and powerful and strong. And those are all the things that they think it's normal to covet. And I'm sorry, but that's just not a universal truth. There are people who really do choose a life of not necessarily poverty, but sometimes yes. People who choose lifestyles that they know are gonna mean that they're never gonna have as much financial comfort and security as they would like. And I'm not just talking about say nuns or monks or whatever, but I'm talking about teachers. A lot of teachers do not get paid enough to be able to live comfortably. And they could probably make more money in a different profession, especially with the amount of education that's required to become a teacher. And yet there are people who still do that anyway, because chasing wealth isn't everybody's priority. And power is not always everyone's priority. Some people absolutely do not want power. Or some people want power, but they aren't willing to put other principles over that. To throw other principles aside in the pursuit of that, And again, strength, this ableist thing that being strong, physically strong, is a virtue. Yeah. I think that people who aren't physically strong can be just as important, just as valid, just as impactful as anyone else. And I admire people who are physically strong. I really like watching, say, gymnastics or, women's soccer especially, but soccer in general, baseball. I like people who are athletic. I admire their commitment to what they really love. And I think that it's great that they're able to, have that culture and achieve things they dream of and all that. I think that stuff's wonderful. But that doesn't make them more important or more worthy as humans than, anyone else. Like, there's this desire, this conservative desire to normalize the grind set, to normalize work, hard work, hard work, hard work. And the reason for that is because what conservatives want is they want a compliant worker class and a powerful owner class. And even people who are conservative that are in workers class, that's what they want, because they all believe on some level somehow they're going to get into owner class, like, or they are comfortable enough in their position that there's a few people that are lower than them on the rung of society, and that's good enough for them, and so they'll accept the status quo because at least it's not worse, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like they are really committed to the belief that everybody needs to live like them, that they need to legislate morality. And it's just strange to me, it's so willfully ignorant, you know? It's so it's so strange that you would be like that you would be that kind of weird. The creepy kind of weird. The kind of weird that just doesn't make sense, that just doesn't feel right. That's what we get from conservatives. They're the kind of, they like to make fun of leftists and liberals and whatnot for having like fancy hair color and uh, piercings and tattoos and blah, 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 blah. Because they think those things are weird. And they think that that weird is bad. And I just don't agree. I think that's kind of cool. Like when I was a teenager, I would have loved to have the uh, acceptance that we have today for, you know, all sorts of things that are much more colorful than I was allowed to have back in the 90s. Like, I literally mixed my own nail polish colors because it was so hard to find colors other than like reds and purples and browns sometimes. Very annoying. Like, I wanted all the like crazy nail polish colors, and now that's everywhere. You can find that anywhere. That's great. I love that. Like, I would have loved it if it would have been no big deal for kids to have, pink or purple or whatever hair when they were in school. I would have loved doing that, like I think that it's nice to be to be able to express yourself, to have fun, to do something that is maybe a little unexpected, or to try something new that you haven't done before. When I cut my hair, I had literally no idea what I was doing. And I just got a pair of like kid scissors from like, oh my gosh, they were probably like a couple dollars or whatever, and I just pulled the long part up and tried to cut it in a sort of straightish way, and it turned out pretty good. But I'm willing to try things like that. I'm willing to give it a shot. And I'm not afraid to try something and realize that it's not the right thing to do. I'm willing to seek progress and take the risk that it's not going to necessarily work out the way that I think it will. And that's the good kind of weird, I think. The bad kind of weird is the kind of weird where people go out of their way to make you feel uncomfortable. Where people go out of their way to be mean spirited and to attack the weak, you know. And a lot of these people call themselves Christians, you know, like, blessed are the meek. Do you guys remember that? The meek are blessed. Blessed. That means that, you know, God loves them. So maybe you ought to consider that. Maybe follow his example. I don't know. Sorry. All right. Well, I think I've gone on enough about weirdness and everything. I want to show you a animal, but they're all like, none of them are right near me. I don't know if I can get any of them to come. Give me a second. Dog? Cat? She comes, she hopped up when I said cat. Come here, Kim. Come here, Kim. Come here, you're a cat. Come here, Kimmy. She's gonna wag her tail, but she's too lazy to get up, which, you know, the same, so. Oh, but it's gonna make her play with her toy. I don't know why I'm giving you a play-by-play about my dog. I wanted to show you her cute, cuddly face, but she wouldn't come over here, so. I guess this is just the way it is. I love that dog. All right, take care of yourself, family members. Maybe next time I will get a little animal cuteness at the end of the video like I try to do, and they're not all asleep. All right, bye.